big to 5 or 10,000 people, and then the next night we might be playing in some dive bar to 15 people, and so we're kind of in this in between, where we're bouncing back and forth. So those 15 people shows, what I like to do is I don't even make a set list anymore. I just go table to table. The smaller the crowd, the more I just start talking to people. I'm like, hey, what do you want here? So we might play Waylon Jennings, we might play Pantera, we might play Britney Spears, all in the same show.
The intersection of good drinks, good music, and good times. This is Hops and Spirits Bar Conversations.
Happy belated birthday, America. I can't believe I forgot to say that last week. Shame on me. I hope everyone had a safe and happy 4th of July. I hope you drank responsibly like you always do. But I also hope you had some great conversation with friends, family, neighbors, because that's really what I think some of these holidays and times are for and what we need more of. We got a great conversation for you this week as we talk with Frank Fletcher, country singer-songwriter. His latest single, Rollin, is out now. And if you missed last week's episode with Britt Taylor, episode 150, that's when we debuted this whole fancy new thing. If you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, this new background and stuff around our videos. She was a blast. We also debuted something really fun last week called the 4-Pack, where we did 4 of my favorite songs right now. So let's crack open another one. This week's 4-Pack is boozy songs, because who doesn't love a little booze in the summertime? I mean, who really doesn't love it anytime? This first one is Hayden Coffman, Beer Ain't Cold, playing George Jones and drinking beer. Does it really get any more country than this? It's a fun combination, and he always puts out great songs. Chase Mitchell, Strawberry Daiquiri's a little more subtle, but perfect for some drinks. And who doesn't love a strawberry daiquiri, especially when you're talking about maybe something else there with your loved one. Jay Allen, Jello Shot. This is a lot more fun than some of his other songs. He's having a lot of fun on this song. You can hear it come through with a little bit more rocking. Also, these first 3 guys were all on the podcast, and maybe the 4th one that I'm going to mention here will be as well. David Adam Byrnes, Win and Rum. Sometimes you just need to mix it up. Win and Rum. I think it's a perfect song for the summer. And that's the 4-Pack for this week. Remember, drink responsibly. Up next is our conversation with country singer-songwriter Frank Fletcher. Enjoy.
Did you know Hops and Spirits is more than just this podcast? Check out hopspirits.com for our latest episode release, past episodes, interviews with interesting folks in the alcohol industry, and so much more. Just go to hopspirits.com. Feel free to wait until this podcast is done.
Joining us here for our conversation, he's a country singer-songwriter. His latest single, Rollin, is out now. Let's welcome in Frank Fletcher.
How's it going, brother?
It's good. It's good. Now, it's funny that, sometimes I ask these questions beforehand and you learn things, and I learned that you have a stage name. Didn't know that. It just seems like that should be a regular name.
So the Fletcher was actually, it's my mother's maiden name, and my family owned a car garage for 50 years. So I started turning wrenches for my granddaddy when I was like 11, and it was Fletcher's Tire. It was my grandfather on my mom's side, and he was a police commissioner at one time. He was on city council. So everybody knew that was my granddad. I started working for him when I was like 11. So unless you went to school with me, everybody just assumed that I was a Fletcher. And Fletcher is a lot easier than saying my German last name. So it just kind of stuck when I started doing country.
Well, it seems to roll off the tongue. I think you can have fun with it. Maybe a fun little logo, all that good stuff. And so I think it works. Do people go, oh, it fits you too?
Yeah, most people don't even realize that it's not my name. You know what I mean? Most people don't even question it. I've actually had to get my real driver's license out in my hometown before I was Frank Fletcher on stage to prove that I wasn't Frank Fletcher. So, it was kind of like easier just to not fight and go with it.
Well, there you go. Now, this is Bar Conversation, so I always have to ask this question. I've got a little whiskey tonight, little 15 stars triple cask. I know you just got back from running some errands, so I don't think you got a drink, but what's your go-to drink these days?
I'm a simple guy. I still drink Jaeger. If I'm going to do a shot, we still do Jaeger on stage, and I just recently switched to Coors Light instead of another product that I used to drink. So,
I like it. Now, does the Jaeger help with the vocal cords? Does that warm them up or cool them down?
It does. It helps coat them. It really does. Jaeger has always kind of been my go-to. Like if I know that I'm about to have to sing, like, I don't know, like an AC/DC song or something. I'll do a shot of Jaeger real quick, and it kind of helps it hurt less.
I like that. I like that. And you got the name. That's maybe not your name. Some might still think it is. And I enjoyed this post that you had the other day of the doppelganger. So do you get a few other things out there as who you should be?
My whole entire life, I've gotten, who you look like, and I'm like, yes, not Frank Fletcher. Like, it's gonna be somebody else. I mean, I've always joked at this point and said that all white boys with long hair and beards look the same, because it's always somebody. It's always, I don't really see the Jason Momoa thing, but a lot of people say that I look like him. There's a show called Animal Kingdom. Some guy named Craig on Animal Kingdom. I was a lot bigger at one point in time. My hair was a lot more blonde. I got Clay Matthews that used to play for the Green Bay Packers. Who else?
Now, did you ever use that to your advantage? Because I'm thinking of the guy that looks like Luke Combs. I don't know if you saw that viral video where he was like walking through the crowd and everyone thought it was Luke, and they're like trying to take his picture and all that. Have you ever used it to your advantage?
I goofed off one time. We went to go see the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and the guitar player Angus had long hair. I wore my hair down that day, and I was in like a nice sport coat blazer, but I still had on my rock star bling on, and people were asking me to sign autographs, and I just signed one real quick just to be silly. But
did you feel bad afterward?
Yeah. So Angus, if you're out there, man, I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, you got the hair and everything. How much effort goes into that? Because I feel like there's got to be a little bit of effort, or is it just pull it up and you're good to go?
For the longest time, I didn't like the man bun thing. And I lived in Pensacola, Florida for about 3 years. And my wife loved the man bun, always wanted me to try to do it. And then started playing all those beach gigs in August. Now, I'll still wear it down when I'm on stage, but honestly, the lady that's cut my hair has been cutting my hair since I was a teenager, and she was like, try not to wash it, but maybe once or twice a week. I mean, if you get really nasty, wash your hair, 2 or 3 times a week, but try not to wash it, but like once a week. So honestly, if it's up, I mean, I went a week straight without brushing it the other day. I just threw it up in the bun and went, and then washed it and conditioned it one time for the weekend for the show, so my hair was down. So I probably spend less time on my hair than you do on yours.
That's true. That is probably true. And I like how it was your wife that said, I like the man bun, and you finally went with it.
I like sleeping in bed versus the couch, so.
Well, that's how the beard started for me. My wife was like, I wonder what you'd look like. And it's been on my face for, I think, 10, 12 years now. and I don't think I'd ever go away from it. And so I understand that to a degree too. And I enjoyed when reading up on you. I really enjoyed that you knew you wanted to be an entertainer since you were 4.
My parents basically said that I was an entertainer since I was 4. I was the, look at me, look what I can do. Watch this. And then the older I got, the more my parents were like, hey, Frank, come here and do this or do that. Or, so it just kind of, I've just always enjoyed, entertaining. And that's still what we focus on when you come see one of our shows is our entertainment, the entertainment side of it. I'm, standing on tables and chairs and getting people, up from the crowd, and just trying to make it as entertaining as and crowd interactive as possible. So that's actually where I feel like I shine. I feel like I'm a better frontman entertainer than I am a singer.
Well, so I was going to ask, it's one thing to be an entertainer, but were you singing songs back then, or were you just showing off other skills? Or everything?
Back then it was everything, all of it. I for some reason, the way my memory works, you can give me a 3-digit code to save the world and ask me 2 weeks from now, and we're all dead. But some silly movie quote or commercial from 10, 15 years ago, every word. So a lot of it was, commercial, like just movie quotes and reenacting scenes and stuff like that. And then I started taking guitar lessons when I was like 12, and started getting big into music. My mom always liked music, wasn't a musician or anything like that, but we started going to concerts all the time. And every type of concert, any type of concert. I've seen Aerosmith twice. I've seen Johnny Lang and Jimmy Vaughn and B.B. King on the blues side of things. I've seen Cher. I've seen Matchbox 20. I've seen Seven Dust Kid Rock, Metallica. It just all of Three Doors Down. Just concerts. And then, of course, as soon as you become a full-time musician, now you don't have time to see any concerts. You don't get to, and unless you're playing that festival or that show or you happen to be there.
Well, I was going to say, what pushed you to learn the guitar? Because, and like you said, you started learning at age 12. Was it something you saw at one of the concerts that you're like, I want to do that?
I mentioned seeing Johnny Lang. Back then, the Disney Channel was pushing musicians, young musicians, really big. So the blues actually got me started, and it was Johnny Lang. He was super young. He was probably 14 or 15, but he was getting to play on stage with like guys like B.B. King and stuff. And he was all over the Disney Channel. He was in the movie Blues Brothers 2000. And that's kind of what got me. And it's funny because the guy that I took guitar lessons from when I was 12 was the leader of a blues band in our hometown area that was really popular then. So and then, of course, growing up in the South, you had all the country music. I mean, I'm from South Alabama, so, country music was there. I'm a 90s alt rock kid myself, so I loved all the 90s hot rock stuff. And then I got in a band, and these guys were talking about doing Pantera and all these, heavy groups. And I was like, who's going to sing that? And they're like, you are. I'm like, I don't know. So they were like, no, you got it in you. So I wound up learning how to scream and growl and do all the heavy stuff. And I did that for years, all the party rock, from every genre. When I was younger, I was huge into Elvis. Elvis was another big idol of mine. So about 6 years ago, 6 years ago is when I kind of stepped back into country music as a full-time thing. And now all of our originals, we promote as country. Everything that we're releasing original wise is country. And then it just depends on our show, where we're playing, because we're at this level right now where we might go open for Tyler Farr and have an all original, set and open for somebody big to 5 or 10,000 people. And then the next night we might be playing in some dive bar to 15 people, and so we're kind of in this in between, where we're bouncing back and forth. So those 15 people shows, what I like to do is I don't even make a set list anymore. I just go table to table. The smaller the crowd, the more I just start talking to people. I'm like, hey, what do you want to hear? So we might play Waylon Jennings, we might play Pantera, we might play Britney Spears, all on the same show.
I would love to hear that.
And yes, we play Britney Spears.
Now, which Britney Spears song? What one were you playing there?
We actually do a weird medley, and I don't know how we figured out how this fits. It was one of those in the practice room, let's try this. But we go from Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way, straight into Britney Spears, Hit Me Baby One More Time, into the Righteous Brothers, You've Lost That Loving Feeling, back into Britney Spears.
Was that like a happy accident?
It was goofing off, and we were like, you know what, let's try it, and it works. I mean, it's funny when you have nothing but younger people out there, and you go into the Righteous Brothers, because they don't get it. But play a lot of family friendly venues and stuff like that. So it's funny to see like the kids sing this part, and then all of a sudden the parents, sing that other part, and they're both looking at each other like, "What? Where'd that come from?" But
they learned something about each other that day, and like you said, you've had a lot of influences clearly. So where are some of those influences? Are they all over the map just because you kind of loved a lot of music?
They are. They are all over the map. And it really honestly just depends on my mood. I've always looked at music as a release for whatever mood you're in. So I come over here and get my phone plugged in. It started saying it was going to die.
Well, we don't want that to happen. I actually did have that happen in a previous interview. so technology can be a ton of fun there. And like you said, you grew up in South Alabama. So I'm guessing down that way though, like you said, you had the country, but you also probably had some rock, southern rock, all sorts of different things down that way.
The big turn was when like Brantley Gilbert and Jason Aldean and all those guys started hitting really big. A lot of the rock venues that we used to play that were on the circuit closed down, and then a lot of them even rebranded as country. So, I'm sure if you go to Nashville right now and you walk down Broadway, you're not going to hear a lot of country music. You're going to hear a lot of 90s alt rock. So I'm sure that a lot of country artists started out as rock, rock singers, rock musicians, and they had to transition to country because it's just where the industry went.
It's true, and honestly, you hear it today. There, like you said, there's a ton of rock influence, and even the alternative country is kind of interesting. The Manny Blues and others of the world, Whiskey Myers and all them that do some fun things that a long time ago, like you said, probably would have been rock. Now I have to ask this too. You mentioned South Alabama. I saw this. Did you really grow up on dirt roads down there, though?
I personally did not live on a dirt road, but yes, every chance we got, we were on a dirt road somewhere or in the woods or, but especially when you became 16, 17, you found dirt roads, and they're everywhere down here. Matter of fact, I was a mailman for about a year in my hometown, and half of my route was dirt roads.
So you are true country.
But yeah, I just sold. I had about 5 acres that I just sold less than a year ago, and I had my tractor out there and bush hogging and working on the property, and we were looking at buying some livestock and stuff like that. But just with the travel, me traveling as much as I travel, the upkeep just wasn't worth it. So, but yeah, so it was funny to see people commenting, like I'd post, me on the tractor or something, and they'd be like, it's weird to see a country artist actually doing country things, but
hey, nothing wrong with that. And like you said, you're out on the road a lot. What, 150 plus shows a year? Is that kind of at minimum here?
Minimum. We're usually closer to 200, 200 plus is kind of what we've been for the last about 3 years now. So we're definitely wide open. A matter of fact, we're probably the exact opposite of what most artists have right now. I think most artists are huge on social media. They have a huge social media following, and they don't play that often. Where we're out road dogging, playing 4, 5, 6, 7 nights a week, and social media is probably not as strong as it should be. But I still do all my own booking, and still do about 95% of all the driving, and then loading in and sound checking and loading out. We just we're at a point now where we're finally starting to build a team I just signed with Burning Ground Entertainment out of Nashville, so they're helping me with the social media side of management, and then I have a personal manager with a company called Arise Entertainment. So we're finally starting to build a team around us where we can kind of focus on all aspects. Because when you're on the road, you're focused on surviving and playing the show.
I was gonna say, what's it like to travel that much? Because, like you said, nowadays that's not a normal thing. You know, like the days of Zach Brown, you know, doing kind of what you're doing and then finally taking off, it doesn't happen anymore.
I'm hoping it's still going to happen. I mean, we're full-time career musicians. None of us have day jobs. So if we're not playing, we're not out making money by making music, then our bills aren't getting paid. And we just like to play. I mean, like I said, I lean more toward the entertainer side of it. So that person-to-person connection, seeing like we just had the single you mentioned Rollin. We just had the release party for it, and it was a family-friendly event. And before I even got on stage, these families came up, and there was probably about six little kids. And they were like, it's their first concert. They've never seen anything like this. So, I took pictures with them. I gave them some like little merch type stuff and everything. And the first couple of songs, there was one of the little girls that was just standing at the stage. She wasn't dancing. She wasn't singing along. She wasn't bopping. Her eyes were as big as saucers, and she was just mesmerized, And to me, that was the highlight of the night for me, was just seeing something click in somebody else. There was a couple shows ago, a guy came up and requested the song, and I said, okay, and we played it. And next thing I know, he's got his 75, 80-year-old mother out on the dance floor, and they're both crying as they're dancing to this song. And he came up to me afterwards. He was like, my dad just died 3 weeks ago, and he used to play guitar, and he would sing that song to my mom. And, so it's stories like that, and you'll have one or two of those stories at almost every show, no matter how big or small. That's the type of stuff that keeps me going. That's what really makes it connect for me.
I was going to say, I mean, the being on stage part and being, whether it's entertaining or just being able to connect, is that just your favorite part, is just being able to truly connect with folks? Because like you said, it's one thing for them to listen to your song on Spotify or wherever, which you're thankful for, I know, but it's another thing for them to see it, hear something that takes them someplace and takes them back to a different time.
Yeah, that's like I said, seeing the lights come on in somebody's eyes, or seeing somebody really connect with something. I mean, to me, that's what it's all about.
Well, and you talked about this too. You've also gotten to open for some big folks. You mentioned Tyler Farr, Daryl Worley, and that there's others. What's it like to go to that type of show versus, say, those smaller venues?
I mean, it honestly depends on the show. I've got to open for some big names where the show was just amazing and just reignites you as your hunger as a musician and trying to get to the next level. And then I've opened for some and been at some shows where I'm like, But same thing with little shows. I mean, I have pulled up to places before and gone, oh no, what did I just book us at? Kind of one of those, I mentioned Blues Brothers earlier, but one of those, Slime booked us in here as a bluegrass band kind of things. And those have actually been some of the best shows, best people, most fun crowds. So you just, being a full-time musician and trying to live this life, you just got to roll with the punches and go with the flow and be flexible and try to enjoy the journey. We're really, really close to kind of getting over that next, getting on that next rung, and that's what we're really working towards, striving towards, and hoping. So anybody out there's listening, go to Spotify, go to Apple Music, go to any of your streaming platforms, download Rollin. But
Well, I was gonna say we'll get into Rollin here in a second, but I'm always curious about this too because you talk about being able to perform and play different songs. Are your originals all your favorites to kind of perform, or is there always that one that just every artist does a cover or whatever these days, no matter what, that they just love to perform? Is there one of those songs out there that you just love to get on stage and be able to share with folks?
Oh man, there's so many. There's so many good songs out there, and like I said, I come from so many different backgrounds. But personally, right now, I mean, as far as musicians go and everything, Cody Jinks is one of my favorites. So, Loud. A matter of fact, there was a video of me doing Loud and Heavy, and I think it's on my YouTube page. But we were playing in Enterprise, Alabama, at the City Festival, and it was on one of the bigger stages, and it was right when I first switched over to country, and that song had probably just came out. Matter of fact, if I listen back to it, I don't even think I sang the words right. But hearing me do that song was kind of one of the first real I could do this as a career type moments. So that song Loud and Heavy by Cody Jinks is always going to be a little kind of special for me, because it was kind of like that first okay, I could really truly do this.
Well, I was going to say there's a difference for folks that may not understand of just playing gigs on the weekend or whatever, and then doing it full time and being able to be successful at it. And you guys have been able to do that because clearly you're getting gigs, you're playing, you're making some good music too. I do have to ask though, you use the hashtag swamp rock. What in the world is swamp rock?
We had one song. I don't even know. I think the producer came up with swamp rock. But it was rock, it was blues, it was country, it was all of it kind of at the same time. It kind of had a dirty sound to it. I think the producer started calling it swamp rock, and it just kind of stuck.
I like it a lot.
But yeah, it was just I don't know how else to say it other than this dirty backwoods swampy sound. So
I was gonna say there's something beautiful about that. When you get to mesh things like that, some good things can happen. And we talked a little bit about your release for Rollin, which is out now. And what was it like to kind of put that song together and get that song out?
And I say we as my band, we're super stoked about Rollin and all our upcoming releases that we have. Like I said, I was kind of new to the country scene. So I would go to Nashville and I'd co-write, and I got to co-write with some really awesome people, and I still stay in touch with them and everything, but I didn't know what direction to go, because country is such a wide variety of country now. So my first EP that I released, if you listen to the whole work, every song on it was a different style of country, and I was trying to kind of figure out where we would fit in. It honestly didn't help at all. You talk to this group of 20 people and they like that song. You took to this group and they like that song. So, but this EP that we're getting ready to release, all of these new songs that we're releasing, including Rollin, were primarily written by me, my guitar player, and my drummer. So we've kind of found what direction we wanted to go, our sound, kind of our vibe, and they are all more cohesive. So we're super excited about the stuff, just because I feel like we have a direction now.
I was gonna say, I mean, how difficult is it to kind of find your sound? Because I've talked to others, and a lot of them say what you say. Once they found themselves, then things clicked even more, and that's when they had more fun, more success, and just all around things went a lot better.
Well, most people that are out playing for a living, you start as a cover band. The bars around here, most bars, they're not going to book an all original band. They want cover bands, and that's how you kind of make money to be able to do it as a career. And then you slowly start sticking one original in here or two originals in, and then all of a sudden you get people requesting your originals, and so you can kind of grow it. At least that's the way that was our business model is. But so for years and years and years, I was doing cover songs. I wasn't being me. I wasn't trying to sound. I didn't have my sound. I was trying to sound like whatever we were covering. So you're right. Like as soon as I was able to kind of find a direction, now I feel like things are really, catching and clicking but it was hard. It was hard. And like I said, I released a whole album of basically guessing, I mean, I liked every song on that album, but which direction do you go? I mean, it literally went from like a Brantley Gilbert sounding song to a Kenny Chesney sounding song to, I mean, you can't be a country band without one of them slow, sappy, tear jerking ones. So, there was one of those on there. Now I think when somebody listened to Rollin the other day and they described it, and I really kind of like this and I'm sticking with it, is they said it was like Cody Jinks and Jason Aldean kind of had, and that was actually kind of what I was going for. Like I love all the Texas stuff that's out right now. I love the Texas country, the red dirt stuff, but I was still wanting it to be more radio friendly because a lot of those Texas guys don't get played on the radio.
Mm-hmm. Or outside of Texas anyway.
yeah, right. But I mean, hey, you could be a superstar in Texas and never have to leave the state. Like
true.
So, and then I do have a rock background. So there's definitely a little rock twist on everything we do.
Well, and you touched on this, that you've got new music coming. So without getting yourself in trouble with any of your your folks, so there is new music coming down the road leading to an EP. Is that right?
Just keep your eyes peeled. It's gonna be sooner than later.
I like it. That's a good tease. And you talk about writing. What's it like for you when you go to write a song? Is it an idea that you've just kind of come up with? Is it real life experience? Is it a kind of a medley of both?
It took me a long time to learn how to write just to write. So for years and years and years, everything I wrote, it had to be an emotional experience. It had to be something from, but going to Nashville and co-writing with these guys that do it for a living, it helped me. So certain songs, of course, are going to be still rooted in your emotions, and it was something that you're pouring out on paper. But like Rollin, not one of those songs. Rollin, summertime was coming around, and we were like, man, there hasn't been a good summertime party banger, released in a long time. So, we sat down, and that's kind of now it came off of real life. I mean, we was talking about getting off of work on Friday. Like I said, I turned wrenches in my granddaddy's car garage. I was working 80, 90 hours a week. So by the end of the week, my drummer, he worked as a mechanic at a logger company, working on log trucks and stuff. So, by the end of the week, we were ready to get the heck out of there and go drink a few beers and blow off some steam. And that's kind of what Rollin is all about is how you would do that around. I mean, you get off of work and go try to pick up whatever girl you were seeing or dating or your girlfriend at the time. And then, you usually finding the dirt road to tear up and drink some beer. I think that's about as Southern, true life Southern as you can get. So yeah, I mean, it came from real experiences, but it wasn't a super emotional song. We were writing it for summer. I mean, it was just, but we've got some songs coming out on this EP that truly came, from an emotional standpoint. So, it just, I think, as you mature as a musician and mature in life, you have more to draw from and you have different ways to look at things. So it becomes easier to write from that aspect. harder for us to write with our schedule.
Yeah, I was gonna say 200. I mean, that only leaves like a couple months out of the year to do any writing.
Well, plus you got to pay the bills and grocery shop and cut the grass and keep the families happy, and so.
I mean, you just start writing in the car. You put the phone down and you record. Right? How many notes do you have on your phone of ideas?
Right now, if I open up my notes, I probably have about 14 or 15 songs where there might be a verse, there might be a chorus, there might be 3 lines. And I think everybody in my band right now has that same thing going on in their phone. Like, matter of fact, Rollin, our drummer, came to us with this chorus. He was like, I wrote it last night. Like, I just came up with this chorus, and then we wrote the song around it, in one session. There's other songs that I've released where I came up with an idea or a couple of lines, and it might be 2 years later before I circle back around to it and have anything to do with that. So it's just a process. And the best, to me, the best songs that we've released are the ones that just kind of snap together. The ones that, 15, 20, 30 minutes, and you're like, whoa, we're done. But it's just because they built organically. So there's just that feel to them.
Well, and like you said, it doesn't hurt that you guys have kind of found your voice and your sound that you want to do. And like you said, you got some new music coming up. Stay tuned. Like you said, that's a good tease. I like that. So someone's been working with you on that one. And what else can folks expect from you the rest of the year? We're a little over halfway through, and I'm guessing more shows.
Lots more shows. We're actually getting ready the end of July. So like just this weekend, we've got I don't even know where we're playing Friday. I'd have to look back at the calendar, but we play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday for 4th of July weekend. So that's a 5-day run. But the end of July, we're going to be in Minnesota for 2 days, and then we go to Sturgis for Sturgis Bike Rally. So we'll be there for Sturgis for 2 weeks, and then we'll catch Deadwood, South Dakota for a week on the way out. But like last year for Sturgis, we crammed like 31 shows in 18 days. We took 2 of everything. We had 2 drum sets, 2 guitar rigs, 2 bass amps, and we would literally like just leave something stashed at one venue and all but to the other and set that up real quick.
I was going to say, I looked at the tour schedule and I was like, there's a way you could do like 400 shows in a year with the way you book.
And see, like I said, I do all my own booking. So when I'm booking, I'm in booking mode. I'm in management. Let's route this. Let's make money. Let's squeeze this and squeeze that. And then when I get out on the road and I'm doing it, I'm like, who booked this? They need to be beat.
You need to fire them.
Yeah. And my guys are just looking at me like holding on for dear life, But no, I mean we've been extremely blessed to have as many, shows as we do, and seem to be even through COVID and everything over the last three years or so. It seems that we're just continuously, kind of climbing the ladder little bit by little bit. And I know it's, in this industry, everybody's an overnight success. They just forgot about the 20 years it took them to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody looks at everybody like, oh, they're just an overnight success. And they're like, no, this guy's been out busting his butt for, 10, 15 years. So we're constantly just one song away, one show away, one phone call away. And we're just building, trying to build as much as we can as we go.
Well, you're definitely doing something right. I don't think you would get that many shows in that many places without doing something right. And the songs that I've been able to hear, Rollin', Midnight, Makes Me Crazy, are all great. And Frank, I appreciate you sharing your story. While you didn't get to share a drink with me, I shared one with you.
Hey, I was going to say, take one for me.
But it won't be Jaeger.
I'll catch up with you this weekend. I'll drink a couple extra for you.
I appreciate that. And Frank, man, thanks so much.
Thank you, man. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Find more from Hops and Spirits at hopspirits.com.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.